All right. Thanks, guys, once again for joining us for this webinar. This is part of a series of things we intend to do as Africa Data School to help you students get the most value from joining Africa Data School. Just the other month, we did a session with Nicole Mwanaidi. She's an expert recruiter. And the aim was to, just share with you what's the process of getting a job from when you stop learning or from when you apply to getting an interview all the way to getting a job. You had the story, you had the narrative, and I think doing these sessions makes becoming a data scientist not be a really far-fetched idea and brings it home so that you can aspire to still become one. And if you're already in one, you can know, ways to either go further in your career or, get a senior role in wherever you are. So today I'm joined by Derek. Derek is a prolific writer, a friend of mine from way back, and he's here to tell us about, the why you should blog. I think this is something I stress a lot, and personally, I know the impact of writing, and something I read in Derek's book is that one of the best ways to show that you know something is to actually write it and tell someone else. So without much further ado, I'll let Derek introduce himself. Hi, Derek.
Hi.
Just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Derek. As Duncan has said, we met with Duncan many years ago when we were doing another program in Ghana, and we've stayed in touch since then. Actually, that's when I actually started writing. I was just learning data science, and I started posting things towards data science and on Medium. And after writing like 3 articles, someone reached out to me and told me they were looking for people to write for their blog. And that's how I got my first writing job. I actually did not know you can actually be paid to write. I just wanted to write to sort of flex my muscles to create a brand and so on. But I was super amazed that you can even be paid to do this thing. So I'm hoping some of you will try it out and see where it takes you. Duncan, can I share my screen?
Yes, sure. You can share your screen. So this is what I want us to do. I want us to do a Q&A for about 15 minutes, and then I'll let you share your screen. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So let's just start. I think there's something you mentioned there. You started writing so that you can flex your data science skills. Why did you feel the need to just write in the first place?
I don't know how this class is distributed. Is everyone from Kenya?
Not everyone is from Kenya. There are some people from different countries.
But let's say from Africa.
Yes.
Do you have people from outside Africa?
Not so sure. Anyone on the call from outside Africa? I don't think so.
Yeah, so the way I looked at it is in Kenya or in Africa per se, there are not so many people who invest in, let's say, content. Like most companies don't invest in content. They would rather maybe do some Google advertising and so on. And so from my perspective, if you are looking for opportunities, say writing opportunities or remote work, how else is someone going to discover you? So me seated in my house now, how will someone know that I actually know these things if I don't put something out there? So for me, it was to put myself in a place where I'm not limiting myself by my geographical location.
Okay, that's awesome, and it's more or less it's like a CV. It's like your resume online, just that it's not in the structure of a CV, but it shows what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. For example, on Medium, these data science publications, there are so many, and when people are looking for other people to create content, they usually go to these publications and see that people are already writing there and reach out to them.
Correct. So apart from someone aspiring to be a writer in data science, what about someone who is really technical? They're not interested in writing for any publications, but they just want to do the hands-on data science. What would you tell such a person about writing? Is it necessary? Do they need to, if they are so good, do they need to write?
Absolutely. So let's, as a tech person in data, as a data scientist, you are a tech person. So you're not limiting yourself by the locations,
Yeah.
the location you're in. You want to get opportunities from wherever they come from, be it Turkey, US, wherever they come from. So how else is someone supposed to know that you know these things? Like, how else is someone going to find you? Like, I know you can put your code on GitHub, but how many people go looking for people there? So you need to go where, you need to go to the marketplace, basically. You need to be in the market.
Okay.
And the way to put yourself in the marketplace is to be seen. And writing is one of the ways to be seen. And not writing on your blog. Do not bother creating a blog. It will be a waste of time. Publish where people are looking for data scientists and machine learning expert and so on. Because if you create your own blog, who is going to discover it? No one knows you, but you can go to a place like Medium where there are already so many people.
Very good. So just to point out, which are these blogging spaces that the people in this meeting can be able to subscribe right away and, write, even if it's how to push your data science code to GitHub?
There is Towards Data Science, there is Geek Culture, there is Analytics. Is it called Video Vihada? There is that one.
Vidia Analytics.
Yes.
They have a blogging platform.
They have one on their own blog, but they also have a Medium publication.
Okay, so now what I'm asking is, if they want to write, the question I'm asking is, let's say today I've been given an assignment and I want to write. Will I go to Vihidia to write, or I'll go to Medium?
So just go to medium.com and write on your own blog. It's like you're creating your own blog on Medium.
So medium.com.
Medium.com.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, sorry?
Is there another one?
I would not bother looking for another one if I'm just
okay. Starting. Medium works best.
Medium works best.
Sure.
But there's also Free Code Camp, Hackernoon. But the problem with other publication, with trying to submit to other publications, is that in the beginning you might not be accepted by them. So publish on your own medium.com to sort of start flexing and start practicing there. Then after some time, you'll be able to submit to these publications.
All right. And what status do you think getting published by a company brings to you, to your personal brand?
So one thing you need to know is that when you get online, nobody knows you.
Correct.
Like no one knows about your credibility. So what you do is you publish on these platforms which are already known, like KD Nuggets, Towards Data Science, Geek Culture. So in essence, you are borrowing their credibility because you are not credible because you've just started today. No one knows about you. But if I find your blog on KD Nuggets, and KD Nuggets is a well-known publication, they obviously look at their work and check whether it's high quality. Then it means then I can trust you.
All right. Well, that's awesome. As I was reading your book, I read that you were once paid 500 USD to write an article.
They still pay that. The first one I was paid 300.
Okay.
The first one I was paid $300, but these things range from anywhere like 100, 500.
So how many words for $300?
It's really not about the number of words. It's about number one, how much the company is willing to pay. Some of them will have a set amount which you can't change because it's been set. But for others, you can negotiate based on the depth of the article, like how long, not just how long the article is, but how long will you actually take to create this content. For example, a 500 article is something that maybe can take you, like, let's say, a week to research and write the article. But then if you already know some of these things, you can write it in like 1 or 2 days. So it depends with what you already know and what you need to research on.
So it means apart from being a technical data scientist, if you're passionate about writing, this is a career path someone can follow.
Absolutely, there are people who are called technical writers, like the people who write documentation. There are people who do developer advocacy, like machine learning developer advocate, where you basically, your work is not just writing, but you create projects using the company's product, and then you create content, like you write about that. So it's like a developer. There are many terms, like, for example, developer advocate, developer educator, DevRel, but they just at the intersection of writing and technical work. So, and it's something that is actually well known. If you try to put yourself at the intersection of two skills, you find yourself in a place where the competition is not as much. So, for example, you are a data scientist, but you are a data scientist who can also write, who can also do some marketing. So even if you're not going to be looking for these roles that involve those two skills, you can separate yourself from other people.
Okay, interesting. So it means even for people who are here and are in different professionals, different professions, it's actually an advantage for them. One, learning data science, and two, being able to, tell the whole world about what they're doing.
Yeah, so for example, let's say you work as a marketing manager, you do marketing at a certain company, and then you add data science on top of that, then you are more valuable than someone who just knows marketing, because now you can actually use something like, even if you don't want to code, like use Python and so on, you can decide, I'm going to learn Excel, I'm going to learn Power BI, and actually do data science at my company. And you can find yourself, you've shifted from marketing and moved to data science, or even if you're going to stay in marketing, you're providing more value because now you can analyze the data yourself.
All right. Okay, great. And I think I said I'll take only 15 minutes on this. I think this is the last question I'm going to ask so that you can go ahead with the presentation. What was the process? How are your first articles as compared to now?
But when I look at them, I can say there's just so much to learn. When the first time you start writing, you're just writing, and to be honest, you're just writing. You are not worried about whether is the grammar okay, is this and that okay.
Sure.
And so over time, there is really, because I've been writing now for 5 years. This is my 6th year.
Wow.
And I still feel there are some things I don't know. there's still a lot of things to learn, but you're definitely not where you were when you started.
Sure. So it means this is a process. So it doesn't matter whether you did a course in writing, you just go ahead and start.
Yes, like my background is in mathematics and computer science. There is nowhere where I started writing.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. Okay. Thanks for the short Q&A. I think it was important for us to highlight, how your journey has been and your perspective on why blogging or writing is important. So I think I'll let you share your screen and just tell us what you had for us today.
If your guests want, we can actually continue with the Q&A because we seem to be covering what I had actually prepared.
Okay, so we can still go on, okay?
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so definitely, like you said, you are doing data science, mathematics and computer science.
Yes.
Okay, what made you lean into data science after that? Why data science?
Yeah, because I specialized in statistics, so it was just like a natural path to follow.
Okay.
I majored in, if you do mathematics and computer science is more of mathematics than computer science. So you need to specialize in either pure mathematics, statistics, and applied math. So I chose statistics.
So, and when you are in school, did you know that data science is a thing, or you came out here and you are like, okay, now I need to know what to do with this degree of mine, and stumbled upon data science?
I'm not sure whether I knew the word itself, but I remember the people who took statistics knew that there are some skills we needed which we were not being taught. So we contributed some money. I think maybe it was 3,000 then per person, and then we got the head of data science at Philips to come and teach us some of those things. And so he would come during the evenings. I think it was that for the year that year, and then he would teach us in R. Then later on, I just picked up Python and continued.
Oh, wow. So all this came from personal initiative. You guys knew there's something you didn't know, and you as students, you decided to pay someone to come and show you.
Yeah, everyone in Kenya knows about how our technical courses are. So you you have the paper, but you don't have the skill.
You don't have the skill. So one of the things you've highlighted there is a problem that Africa Data School is trying to solve. We have been through the system ourselves. One of my co-founders, he's called John, actually dropped out of university because he felt the skills that he needed are not being taught in the conventional traditional university. So boot camps like Africa Data School exist to help bridge that gap where let's jump into the doing the thing first before we understand what happens behind the hood. Because when you go to, I think rarely will you go to a company and the first thing they ask you is calculus. I think they'll first ask you, can you deploy a model? Can you clean data? Those are the things they'll ask you. They won't ask you about the math behind what you are doing. So that's an interesting thing you've put in. So you go on to get into data science. How has your journey been since then? Why go writing and not the technical way?
Actually, I've actually done all of these things. When we came from Ghana, I was actually teaching a course like this one with predictive analytics. So as part of that, we're also building some solutions and deploying them. But I was still actually doing the writing on the side. I was also doing some bit of web design, web development. And I think it's maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I stopped doing all those things and just focused on sort of creating content in data science.
Okay, that's awesome. I think let's jump forward to what you're doing now. Which companies are you writing for, and how is your experience?
Now, just one company. I work as a machine learning developer advocate for a company in US called Neuromagic, and basically what they do is create the magic in machine learning. So if you're aware of deep learning, there are these large machine learning models which can be gigabytes and so on. So deploying them is quite challenging because of their size, especially on mobile devices and on the edge. But apart from that, the biggest challenge when deploying these large models is the time of inference and the difficulty of deploying them. So Neuromagic makes these models smaller, optimizes them for speed and inference by quantizing and pruning them. So quantizing is, for example, if you have a float 32 model, you make it like float 16. Pruning, those who are familiar with neural networks, pruning, you just drop some weight connections in the network. And the advantage of doing quantization and pruning is that you end up achieving a small model, which is fast at inference, delivers high throughput and lower latency, but still you do not lose on the accuracy. So basically creating content around that.
Okay, so you're in Kenya, but still managed to get a job in the States.
Because of writing.
Because of writing. Okay, so guys, if you have questions, just write them on the chat. I'll ask them after this so that we can get some of your questions answered. And I will also be sharing his profile later after this, just in case you want to follow his work and what have you. So finally, this is the final part before we go to questions. Just give us a brief about your two books and where we can get them.
I have many books, but the latest one is the one about writing for data scientists.
Writing for data scientists.
Yeah, I can share the link. So basically what I did is just compressed what I had learned all those years into something that someone who's just starting can use.
Okay, so like
this is the non-technical
students
one.
can benefit from, right?
Sorry?
That's something students or someone who is beginning their data science journey can benefit from, yeah, the book?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a technical book, like there is no coding involved. There is just about how you can build a career when you are writing about data science and machine learning.
All right, great. And what has been the uptake so far?
For the book?
Yes.
Let me see. If you click the link, you can see there are 22 sales so far.
All right, very good. I think after this, you'll have 32 people who will buy that book. Anyway, I think it's thank you, Derek, for giving us your experience, giving us your insights about writing and why people should write about what they do. I'm a very big fan of when you're learning or when you're building silence, but once you build, make a whole lot of noise about it. So when you're doing your code, when you're doing your project, yes, do it in writing. Do it in silence. But once you finish building, make sure you make a lot of noise about it. And how you do that is probably writing your a blog about what you did on Medium, and then broadcasting to all your friends, and whether it's WhatsApp, sharing with a community that you know. So I'm a very, very big advocate for that. So first question here, Evans has asked, how long did it take you to start working after learning data science? Or did it happen as you were learning?
Before I get to that one, what you said is very true. You just make noise and listen for the signal. And the advantage of writing and putting your content out there is that after that, the content just works for you because of SEO. Like someone will Google how to do X, Y, Z, they will find your article and they will reach out to you if they find it interesting. So you can be sure that the content you're putting out there is going to work, is going to do the work for you. On that question, could you please repeat it? Like how long did it take
you to start working after learning data science, or did it happen as you were learning?
It's a tricky question because when Duncan, you and I left, I guess you left before me or I left you there, I don't know. But when I came back to Kenya from Ghana, I didn't look for any work. When I was in campus, I was doing web design and web development. And so when I came back here, I just continued doing that, doing web development, building websites. And then I was also doing data science, like teaching, I was teaching data science. I was also building some data applications. So I can't say there is a certain point because I was actually doing all of them at the same time. I just got to a point where I decided now that this data science and writing thing seems to be picking up. Then let me just focus on this and stop doing these other things.
All right. So it was experimenting until you found your way.
If you're just starting something, like for example, let's say you want to make money out of writing, and there is already something else you're doing that is making you money. You can't drop what you're doing and just come and start writing expecting to make money. It will not happen.
Yeah.
So what do? You just keep writing and you still keep doing whatever you're doing. Then
Okay.
at some point, you just transition slowly.
All right. Anybody else have a question? I think only Evans asked a question. Anybody else have a question? Yes, Okello, go ahead.
Yeah, so as a data professional, does it entail also the platforms? Do you have to be good at the platforms, or it's just limited to just manipulating the data?
What do you mean by platforms?
Like different maybe service providers, Amazon, maybe Azure, or that's not part of data science?
It will depend on the company, because when you start getting into AWS and Azure, that is now coming in the line of data engineering and machine learning engineering, where you now start, for example, building pipelines for your data, hosting those machine learning models. So at a small company, you'll find yourself doing all those things. But at a larger company, they might have people for doing the different parts of the different parts of data science. Some people will do the cleaning, data engineering, then someone else will be given the model to do the hosting and so on. But if it's a small company where maybe there's only one data scientist, you'll find yourself doing all those things. I'm sure Dan can have something to add on that.
So especially for us, I worked before Africa Data School, I worked in an AI company called Nestmetric. I think the person who was our lead data scientist was doing everything. He was basically he was basically just doing everything. So yeah. And the other question here by Edwin, he asked, how did you get in touch with Neuromagic?
I just Googled machine learning developer advocate, and it was among the top results on Google.
Then how did you go about reaching out to them?
There was a job advert. Like there was a, when I Googled that, there was a job. There was a job board. Like they had listed the job on their website, so it came up when I Googled that.
Okay, and you went ahead to apply. Did you go through any interviews?
Yeah, a lot of them, like 10.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. So Mercy is asking, for the articles, were they based on the projects you did, and what was the response once you put it in medium.com? Any critiques or contribution on the same?
And there's this survey Kaggle does, I think, every year. So I think my first articles were like sort of analyzing that data. If you go to my Medium, you'll see them. Like, which language should you learn as a data scientist? So I was just like analyzing that, putting it on Kaggle, and also posting that on Medium. So that was on my own personal Medium account, and then I think I also submitted on Towards Data Science. In the beginning, you shouldn't be worried about comments and criticism, because actually very few people, in the beginning, not many people will see your work. So that's not something to worry about.
So were the articles based on your projects?
So you could say so, because I was just like analyzing that data from Kaggle,
Okay.
because they do a survey every year. So I was just analyzing it as a way also of learning.
All
and
right.
then I just wrote an article about it.
Okay. I think that's it from the questions part. Anybody else who feel like we've left out and they would have liked to pose a question? Okay, Agri has asked, where do you see the future of AI as a predictor of human behavior in HR?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure I have a comment, since I've not worked in HR.
Okay. Well, I think just to put this in your line of probably thought, what are the interesting things you've seen being used by HR? That is, what kind of abilities that AI can do are being used by HR? Any
Because I don't know whether recruiting is part of HR, but
yes, it is.
Because these tools are actually used for recruiting, like where you upload your CV and the system will decide whether you qualify or not. That's why people are told, format your CV like this, put these things in your CV, so that when it goes through their ATS, the applicant tracking system, because when companies with so many applications, they need like a way to do the first initial filter. So that is definitely one way where it's being used. But there's also this thing they call, I don't know whether is it aptitude or something, where you play some games, and then the system decides whether you qualified for the job to move to the next stage or not. I'm not sure whether they use some machine learning there, but also another way it can be used is if given employee data, not necessarily machine learning, but you can use it to track like performance, like just the basic analysis of this is how these employees are performing.
Okay. Thanks for that. I think Agri, what I'll do, I'll probably look for someone who is in AI and has worked in HR to give us their perspective on AI in HR. Do you think that would help?
That presents a very good opportunity for him if you able to combine the HR and AI. So you can see you've carved out a section for yourself where not very many people are in.
Yeah, that's an opportunity for you, Agri. Okay, so Edwin has also asked, how long have you been with Neuromagic and how is your experience so far?
It's barely 3 months. Before that, I was with another company, also remote. So, and I've been working remote for my entire life. I've never worked in like, apart from internship, I've never like done any like physical work, like where you go to an office.
Interesting. You are a digital nomad.
Yeah.
Okay. And how is your experience so far?
I mean, I think it's all the same because since I've been doing this sort of remote work for a long time, I sort of don't see any difference. I would see the difference if I was now to like sort of start going to an office. So for me, it has all been like if you're not in an office, no one tells you come start your work at 8.
Yeah.
If you don't come, I leave at 5 or things like those. So, and actually with companies, when they're looking for people to hire remotely, they want to know that you can actually do your work remotely. Like it means no one is supervising you, no one is looking at your time, no one knows whether you worked 1 hour today or 8 hours. So it's really up to you to get the job done.
Okay. Thanks for that. Anybody else with a question? Before we wrap up? Anybody else with a question? Aha, Ellie has asked a very, very good question. What is the role of ChatGPT to writers?
There is actually a book on this.
Okay.
Let me see whether I can find it. It's going for $1.
Yeah.
Let me see whether I can find it. You guys can also look at it.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone here can afford $1 chat GPT. It's good for brainstorming actually, but you can't just like sort of copy paste everything from there. Okay, I'll find it and share it with Duncan. But basically, it's you can use it to augment your writing. Like you can, for example, do some research, but you can't sort of copy paste because the thing still does it's not very clever. It doesn't know. There are some things which will be wrong, and if you don't already know the correct answer, you might copy the wrong information. So
especially for a
you use
technical
it.
blog, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it can help with, coming up with ideas of what to write, what content to put in, but you have to really know your stuff before, going ahead to submit it for the masses.
Yeah, and for some of these questions, ChatGPT might return the same answer. So if you just copy paste, then the entire internet will be filled with the same things.
I agree. Okay. So Gentle is asking, is writing limited to data science topics or topics of your interest?
You can write about anything, but or for example, you can have your own. Maybe you can have like 2 publications on Medium if you want to write more than one thing. But if you are looking for, let's say, opportunities in data science, and it makes sense for you to write about data science.
Correct.
But then it doesn't limit you to sort of write about other things.
Correct. I agree with you on that. I hope that was clear, Gentle. It depends on the goal that you have. If you are set to increase your chances in data science, I think you're better off writing about data science. Edwin is asking, the fact that you don't go to the office, are you given deadlines by the company on the tasks you're required to do for the company?
Of course, every work needs to have deadlines. Yeah.
So you get deadlines?
Yeah, like obviously, like get this, like, okay, so every company will use some sort of project management software. So when the task is created, there is a due date there.
Okay. So Maureen is asking, what are some of the sites that one can write data science blogs to enlighten other people, but still earn?
First of all, it will depend with whether you have some experience, because even if I tell you go now and submit your work to and try to get some writing work from a certain company, if you don't have any writing samples, you won't get them, and you'll be frustrated and you'll give up. So first, if you're going to go and apply, make sure that you have at least 5 to 10 writing samples to show.
Okay, and which I know that is one of the prerequisites, but when at the point where they do get at least 10 articles, which blogs can they turn towards to write for them and still earn?
Let me share one of them on the chat. As I try to remember the answer.
Okay. So
there is DigitalOcean. Just Google DigitalOcean. There is something called DigitalOcean donations blog or something. There is Auth0. What else?
okay.
Neptune.ai.
You said DigitalOcean.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, if you actually Google data science blogs that pay writers, you will find them.
Okay.
But top of mind, there is DigitalOcean, there is Auth0.
Auth0.
Auth0, like the company for
Auth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which other? So others, there are others which I can't tell you because like they don't have like a public company, like they don't have like a public facing page for you to go and apply. But something like Neptune.ai, they have a public facing page.
Neptune.
Neptune.ai.
Okay.
There's also weights and biases.
So
if the company you're trying to look for, they don't have like a public page saying we are looking for writers, just reach out to them and tell them I can write some of my writing samples. I can create for you an article on XYZ, obviously after doing some research on their company and seeing what kind of content you think they would need.
Okay. So Ezra is asking, as a CV of a person who works mostly remotely, what areas of focus can you advise that shows your employer you are actually competent remotely?
Competent remotely?
Yeah, like it shows that your competence, even though you're not physically there.
I don't think there is any part of your CV that should necessarily say that, but if you've already been working with other companies remotely, then it means you can work remotely.
Sure.
Because work is work. Work is work. It doesn't matter whether you go to the office or not. What matters is, did you get the job done?
Yes. All right. I hope that was clear, Ezra. Is there a common platform where one can follow the work of other data scientists or machine learning bloggers?
Towards data science is one of them.
Towards data science. I think I highlighted it on the chat earlier on. So Edwin, check out Towards Data Science. It's a Medium blog. It's been there for ages.
And then there's also Geek Culture. Geek Culture, if you submit there, you can be paid through the Medium Partner Program, but that program is not available in Kenya. So that's the problem.
TH?
Geek Culture.
Oh, Geek Culture, yeah. I think I know Geek Culture. Geek Culture.
I shared the book about ChatGPT. I hope it's still available for 0.99.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time, Derek. I think we will wrap it up now. Thank you for making time to come and meet us, and for the whole audience, some from Africa Data School, some who have not joined Africa Data School yet. I hope this was beneficial to you guys, and I will be sending out this recording on email, so stay tuned for that. And I will also send out a survey so that I can get your input on what you feel about this kind of webinars, and also know some things that you'd like us to talk about in the future. So thanks once again, Derek. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice time.
All right, bye-bye.